Yes, hello, I am James Rowland. Today it's Wnr390 Impact Bound for Glory. I am not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by Monty. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. I'm finding a way to get through. Not used to being here for Impact Review, but hey, I'm ready to, uh, take a shot at, reviewing some Impact.
Well, I have to say, like I said, this is the first show that we've done since Halloween, and the haircut. I have had a new haircut since then. We raised
Yeah,
£300 for charity and a ponytail during that. But Paul Heyman and ECW, he'll never lie to the fans. He'll lie to the rest, but not the. I'm very similar when it comes to that as well. I'll lie to everybody that listen. I won't. And so there's a little kind of peek behind the curtain. So this first off, a little bit of trouble trying to set this podcast up as it goes. I've actually forgot. Went back an hour in the UK, and I didn't inform Monty waiting, so I apologise.
no big deal. We're here now. Let's do it.
And there's a reason, Monty, because I have dragged him kicking, and like I say, use NX and a bit of WWE. Actually, I've kind of made Monty do quite a bit of work thinking
Everything
about
is
it. There's not many things I've not forced you to watch, actually, so I just thank you for that. But there is a kind of story behind it. Like I said, the Ultimate One, who has been Impact, but he's very big, so hopefully stepped. Fair to say, would.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I probably keep up with. I've kept up with from a distance, but I'm not really watching match by match. I don't know every storyline. I years ago, many years ago, I watched Impact a lot more. Way back in the AJ Styles and more Joe Kurt Angle days. So, uh, honestly, off and on, pretty much for a while since like 2014, maybe I've been watching them off and on. But really, I rarely get a chance to watch Impact now. So yeah, I don't want to consider myself an expert. I have an idea of how things usually work in Impact, or and who are important, who are the best wrestlers on the roster. But I'm not gonna lie, like I'm an expert at all. So
Well, it'll be interesting, Japan, as well, guys. You're experienced from,
yeah,
so that'd be interesting. They've got a couple impacts, and of course, Bound for Glory. But it has been a couple of weeks, and usually kind of about shows or maybe not about. And I think WWE knew that myself and Monty was going to do this show, so they decided to release more talent the past couple of days. it, are we a jinx? Because every time we see update or something like that, it's mass exit.
yeah. At this point, it's a drinking game altogether. You just drink for every name that drop. You just take a sip for them, or you might as well just take a shot. So anything. I get it. It's insane. I don't really know what else to tell you. I'm numb to the feeling at this point. At this point, I pretty much just have the opinion of please. It's a great. We're really in a decent state in a lot of different wrestling organizations now. So everyone is obviously not going to be WWE or whatever they consider their material is at this point. But I don't even know what to tell you, man. It's just people that you think had a future, people you thought you could have seen them in just great moments down the line, all gone. Some people that maybe you realized that it wasn't working at first, but then seeing it now, do you really realize no, it's over now? It's not even a chance of fixing it. There's no way you can tell me that we could have saw this coming before, at the beginning of the year. Just how many people they've let go this year, not even counting last year. Like this year, they've let a mountain of talent go. And like I said, I'm numb to it at this point. I almost expected it at every quarterly update or something. I'm expecting something. It sucks, but that's where we're at now as far as WWE's releases.
Well, without a doubt, and like you said, the guy who's UK game for WWE must fucking hate them. But in all serious, we talk about what happened yesterday as well. Cool. You and I are both on Twitter. I'm at the WNR Podcast. You're at Mind of Monty Pod. Now, if you look on the bio, and it was kind of like it's WWE today have got a thread of announcing the Survivor Series, our reaction. Frankie Monet Ember Moon, Jessica Mira, Katrina Cortez, Jeet Rama, Oni Lorcan, Trey Baxter, Zayda Ramira, Scarlett, B-Fab, Grand Metallic, Lince Dorado, Karen Cross, Harry Smith, and me, all. I'm going to pick each one. I'm going to start with Frankie Monet. I actually by the end of the year. And I've never been wrong, and that was then young. The next name, Ember. I mean, what do you think of Ember?
Yeah, I mean, like I think you mention it all the time. Her great match with Oscar, and what that did, and the feeling around women's wrestling, the feeling around NXT at that time, the feeling around Ember Moon a few years back before the major injury, and even just before she was on the main roster in general. Of her entire main roster run that went on for a while. She seemed like she was going to be a major star in WWE for years to come, and for her to just kind of like go to NXT, have decent to really good matches and have a pretty good team with Shotzi Blackheart, and to now just to be basically irrelevant the last few months since they rebranded to NXT. That's why this really wasn't that much of a surprise to me. It just seemed like they had her in limbo, and someone with that talent, I don't understand how you could not know exactly where you want to go with that. But NXT obviously is going in a different direction, and it's just crazy when you think about it, because like she was next up if you really think about like how they were presenting her, especially in NXT during her initial run, and it's just crazy to me how someone like Ember, who is that talented and someone who felt like a big deal for a long time, is already released without ever really getting another shot at the main roster. I remember her coming down the end was almost kind of viewed, even though I knew she was returning from injury, it was kind of viewed in the same way that people view Finn Balor returning. So for her to end up now on the outs, it just it isn't. I can't really believe it, man. It's crazy when you think about it.
It is, and like I said, Oni Lorcan was tag team of the year for the WNR podcast a couple of years ago. Trey Baxter's my pick for the breakout tournament. It's just like, obviously Grand Metallic and Lince Dorado, but I mean they've been there. Grand Metallic semi-finals back into Harry Smith signed for Raw.
I think he had like a dark match.
Yeah, just imagine
that.
He
had one dark match. Crazy.
Cool. Nia Jackson, but I think Keith Lee and Mia Yim be released. I mean, Keith Lee along with Carrion. And I
saw Scarlett first. Imagine my surprise when Scarlett Bordeaux was the first name confirmed, or that I seen, like based on her tweets, confirmed that something was different when she just basically put out her booking information. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, the first thing went to my mind is either Cross is not far behind, or there's no way they fired her and just is going to keep Cross on the roster. So it's just seeing that just was insane yesterday. Just the feeling of just realizing, wow, they really are going to just cut him like that and just drop the ball. It obviously wasn't, like we said, we had so many digs about the stupid helmet and just the fact that they changed everything about him. Same thing with Keith Lee, also not working. Even though I was hopeful that the Bearcat thing would be going somewhere, it obviously just wasn't what either side wanted. And I've seen reports now that's starting to come out that sounds like they're kind of trying to slander Keith Lee and say he had attitude problems, which honestly, if you are one thing, NXT champion, North American champion, one of the most important names in wrestling, not even less than a year ago, and then they change everything about you, and you've barely been able to wrestle for the entire time since you've been on the main roster. I'm pretty sure anyone would have attitude issues after that. I mean, it's just really that simple. I don't really know how to, even if I don't really believe that is true, but if that even is true, I think it's justified if you honestly think about it. But it's just crazy, man. He was one of the best, and I think they really will regret that. They will regret letting go of Keith Lee and Mia Yim, who, by the way, I mean, look how far away from the HBIC character that we are removed from just what she felt like when she was Mia Yim in NXT during her initial run before the whole retribution gimmick and all of that stuff. So it's just like I said, those four individuals right there, in just they give you that feel. It just shows you like it didn't matter how you viewed them or where talent level you are. It was, I don't even think you can make a case that I know they say budget cuts, but you can't make a case that any of this is talent related, because they are letting go some serious star power. And a guy like Cross, who I thought fit WWE perfectly, even more so than Keith Lee. So it's just crazy, man.
And the thing is, as well, it's like, it's the creative people behind who have failed these wrestlers, not the other way around. It's the equivalent of Ringmaster being remarked, not becoming Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Ringmaster character being cut down, Isaac Yankem never being Kane. Of course, there's going to be poor creative. That's what WWE's about, but it's a recovering and rebuild.
Right.
Look at Rocky. Look at everybody. Everybody starts off maybe, and again, you come out of the company. I couldn't believe it because I did Big Show, and Big Show's saying to Chris Jericho, "Oh, well, they never really used me properly and create me." And when you think you had a 20-year career yet there, would WWE really need to go over the fact that maybe they didn't create someone? But like, CM Punk, with AJ Styles, it's kind of accepted. If the character works, then use the character when they come in and don't try and water it down.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they've got signed for, changing it, and no wonder they're failing. And if they're successful, you bring them up and then you said changing, that's their fault, not the wrestler.
I agree 100% because a lot of these changes are, like I mentioned, changes for the sake of changing. It was the unique. We talked about it week after week on NXT Update, how unique Killer Cross or Karrion Kross felt at the time when he was in, before he even won NXT Championship, but even when he had his run as champion, with the interest with Scarlett, with their dynamic, the promo style, the song, everything about it just made him feel like a star before that. And then just for him to pop up on WWE TV the way he did, and for him to just look like just a guy, and that's the way you want to introduce him to your casual fans on Monday Night Raw. It was just a misstep from the beginning, and like you said, the ability to recover. Like you said, they've made mistakes in the past. They've been able to let this superstar shine through a lot of their mistakes, even if it takes a little bit longer or time. But that's another thing. The amount of time given is no longer there. Rocky Maivia was getting Rocky die for months before he finally flipped the switch and hit the Rock. He was forced to go out there and, make the best of it, whether that mean they had to change it or figure it out. But, he was given that chance. I don't feel like Keith Lee. I don't feel like Karrion Kross. I don't feel like plenty of a lot of these talent. B-Fab just got drafted. How can you say she had a chance? Especially when I'm not saying she was perfect in the ring, but at least character-wise, at least promo-wise, you immediately, again, here we go again, something that was built in NXT that seemed to be working with Hit Row, and you're immediately changing something now before they can even really get started good. So it's just, like I said, they continue to keep making these same moves, and that's the reason why, again, I can't be angry or disappointed for of course, I don't like anyone to lose their job, but at the same time, this can be a great thing for a lot of these workers. A lot of the young workers get to use this platform to get booked to other places. And a lot of the people who are established, like a Keith Lee, now can get their pick of the litter of the great, of these few organizations, not just AEW, Impact, NWA, even, of course, New Japan. I was having fantasies of Keith Lee popping up in New Japan because I just know I can just see him having great matches with some guys over there. But he'll have great matches anywhere. That's the type of talent Keith Lee is. So it's just, like I said, guys like that I think will be fine. Even though this is very, very unfortunate, if you know what I mean.
Well, this is the thing, and even we're going to speak to kind of Jaxie about this, and hopefully the Ultimate one as well. And they are not as forgiving as we are. We are kind of the most ardent of WWE fans, and even most hardcore kind of loving Roman Reigns who would have a difficult time arguing about WWE dropping. Just worried it would kind of be that thing, where expect this kind of mass of talent and just after one. Oh yeah, because like I said, hopefully, but like you said, with the talent that letting go now, the main reason is budget cuts for the very start. So we were very eager about the quarter financial results for WWE, and they reported a revenue of $255, which is an increase of 15% or 32. They credit the increase with higher ticket sales and venue that man touted a better than expected. So that's how much. So don't worry, WWE Hardcore. Do you think WWE are going to go out of business anytime soon? They've made a profit during COVID. That's how, tight that is. Even if it's Roman Reigns giving a 2-hour promo on SmackDown, they'll do. So it's interesting, I think. Again, we don't want to shit all over WWE, but when there's time, like when they do a match, and now SmackDown, it kind of takes it out of you.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, right, we were watching a SmackDown over here in America live while people were being released at some point earlier this year. So, yeah, I don't understand why they seem like they just want to, do that. And then here we go. Give you Roman. That'll keep them, distract them, Roman,
It's just,
so we can just move on, but I don't, I understand completely. Uh, I definitely am not going to say I don't like to say I'm either side, but I'm honest, honestly. So I can honestly say what I feel about both sides when it comes to AEW and when it comes to WWE. And I don't see how you can sit back and not look at what's going on and just be like, wow, this is, like you said, they dropped the ball on so much potential talent, so many potential new stars. And you can't be a fan you are delusional if you are a fan of WWE and you believe that they have not, or that they don't have a problem when it comes to creating stars and keeping stars and making, valuable names. And I know they have some great stars who creeped up, like a Seth Rollins, like a Roman Reigns that we love, and I can just keep going. Big E seems to be on the rise, McIntyre, but honestly, they have dropped the ball in so many places, and you just got to be honest about this.
well, this is the thing. With NXT, out of the 85 WWE, so not too bad. Like to talk about Seth Rollins, Big Finn Balor, Nakamura, the other 8, apart from Ciampa and Gargano, the last champion not released on NXT was Drew McIntyre. Now, I'm not saying Vince annoyed about losing to the ratings, doesn't matter. If you look at that, every band.
Yeah, and that's a unique way to look at it. I didn't even really think about that, but yeah, that's definitely could be a little bit something going. It could be something there. You know what I mean? I didn't really even think about it that way, but it makes sense. A lot of people from that era of NXT are getting cleaned out. And I think another thing, I don't know how serious fans or people took it when they made that statement at the beginning of the NXT 2.0 rebrand about the new direction they were going in. They were completely serious, obviously, because it seems like they're going to try to not only they're not only cleaning out the roster spots, they're cleaning out the performance center. Performance center people have been released this year, so it's like they are literally trying to have a brand new culture, new types of talent. And I think it's going to be made in the image of a lot of stuff that we're starting to see down in NXT 2.0. Whether you like it or not, that seems to be the direction that they're going in. And I agree. It's insane to me. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, everyone that Triple H kind of put faith in the last year to kind of combat the AEW thing, the AEW wave, or kind of if you want to consider that a war. There a lot of those people are out of the building, so I didn't even think about it that way. But yeah, that is really something, man.
Yeah, excellent point by me. Anyway, let's get on with Bound for Glory. Start with the pre-show. October, we get an extended from Kong to celebrate her entry Impact Hall of Fame. Gal, lovely, and basically thanked him. Jeff Jarrett, Dixie Cartman. Really, what are your thoughts on awesome Kong as a performer? Have you seen much of her? Because I think, he's the first true color monster that we had in, I say America.
Right. No, I agree. She's awesome. She was absolutely amazing. All over the world, not just in Impact. In Japan, she's done great things over her career. And same thing, like you said, definitely Impact. I remember, like I said, I was into Impact definitely in the mid 2000s, back in those days when her and Gail Kim were tearing it up. Definitely had just great chemistry with each other, and she was, like you said, a true monster, always there to knock someone out and just be a legit force. She broke a lot of barriers. She was the first. Not only was she African American and of that descent, and that stuck out to me, and that allowed her to kind of relate to me sitting back, but also a woman of her size during that time, especially if you grew up in WWE. Impact were miles ahead of the WWE for a long time, and it's because of women and because of their willingness to book Awesome Kong the way they did, and that the whole knockout division owe a lot to like what the knockout division is owe a lot to women like Awesome Kong. If you think Gail Kim deserves to be like legit Hall of Fame, Impact Hall of Fame like she is, then you gotta have the like I think probably her greatest rival, Awesome Kong in there along with it. So I thought this was great, and I love everything about Awesome Kong.
Yeah, and when you talk about women's wrestling and the women's revolution, this is kind of what turned my eye to women's wrestling. Don't get me wrong, Trish and Lita on a kind of mainstream style, but the quality of Kim and Kong knockout roster, and that you look at it now and they had all this great talent like AJ Styles, and they had the extra, and they just fucked it up. Like it does, you know, looking back on all this great thing, but I think the important thing was Kong at home, brought down by the can't. That Kong became the amount of wrestlers who have copied that style now from, if you look at, well, you got Nyla Rose, AEW, you got Nia Jax, we did have her style. The knockout locker room came out, it's genuine emotion. The rest may imitate. I thought this was really, really done as well, even though maybe a lot of people don't know about Impact Hall of Fame.
Yeah, they are a little bit liberal with they have been liberal with the Hall of Fame, and also not really. I'm not gonna say it's prestigious, but it's well deserved.
Yeah.
It's really, and it is prestigious in Impact history. You know what I mean? If you're someone who's been a long time fan, her run in Impact is definitely something that you cannot tell the story of TNA or Impact Wrestling without mentioning. Awesome Kong was that damn good.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And then we get an ad for a Tag Me In campaign for mental health charity. When the pre-show match was the Digital Champion. Yeah, that's right. We get John Skyler, Jordan Grace, Madison Rain, Chelsea Green, Falabar, and Crazy Steve. It's intergender as well. We just get straight into the action. We see Grace and Bar one-on-one were Vader, but Skyler to a lariat. Green hit Skyler with a neck wrench. Green and Rain were tranch. Everyone in the corner and hit with a corner splash. Skyler to inside. Skyler with a fireman carry sent on. And Skyler hit Green with a northern lariat, but then Grace managed to get Skyler with a Grace driver for the victory and a new champion. Did you see this match? Did you watch a pre-show?
Yes, I did see this match. I found it. I'm not mad that I found the match. I was not excited going into it because I think I basically shitted on the belt before I ever even knew it much about it. But the match itself was very, very fun. I thought it did a really good job. I thought it was placed really well because it did a good job of, in my opinion, kind of warming up everybody who were there. And Grace winning, I can't be mad at that. She's not only is she perfect for the role because of just how good she is, just as Jordan Grace in the ring in general. She's great, but she's really good on social media at that. She's a great follower. So yeah. If that has anything to do with being the digital media champion, I think she's a good fit.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought it was really quick but fun. I think, like I said, Grace was, and a new referee shirt with the black shoulders as well.
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
We're gonna give us out of 5.
I'd give it 2.75. Let's say that. Let's give it. Let's stay in that range.
I'm gonna give it predictions. We all gave predictions on the Halloween. Jaxie said we're gonna go through each one as well. Obviously, Jaxie said green. One said Madison Rain. You went for Falabar. And I went for Grace, so yes, that is 1-0. But I'm not. If we get to the Battle for Glory, the main show, the cold open, which focused on the life and career of Josh Alexander, and then we check in on Sam Town's Casino and you get the entry for the opening match. Someone named Harley Cameron, McKay and Cassie. And as they came out, I thought Cassie looked a lot happy. But this was quite cool, though. What is your first full inspiration outside of
I literally wrote, how cool is it to have the inspiration back on our TV screens? It was kind of cool. I have no problem. It's been a while. Sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder, as they say, of course. So it is refreshing. Like I said, I always disagreed with one big major decision with WWE. It's more so splitting them up in the first place. Never should have been split up in the first place. I think we should all delete that little period of time out of our mind. So let's get back to an iconic, inspirational moment for this team. So yeah, it was cool. It was nice to see them back together.
It is. I didn't mind the setting either, where it was just like the Impact Zone. And our first match, Decay and Havoc, inspiration Jesse McKay and Cassie Lee titles. We see Rosemary McKay start the match. McKay and Lee quickly together, expose. Rosemary hit Lee with a slam, and Havoc tagged in. Decay hit Lee with double lariat. McKay then tagged herself, and Havoc no-sold her offense. Rosemary came back in and gave Mackay a corner splash, and Rosemary bit Mackay in the face. Got worked on a little bit when the inspiration turned it around. Havoc tagged in and hit Lee with a backbreaker. Rosemary gave Lee a spear. Mackay broke up Havoc's, but Havoc took Mackay out with a forearm. She missed a leg drop on Lee. Looked really awkward as well, but Mackay hit Rosemary with a kick. Mackay got hit with a sky high and Havoc nice kick. And Rosemary again tagged herself. He dumped Rosemary to ringside and hit Havoc with a tagged in. Tossed Havoc into the corner and tagged it. He could get the pin because she's rolled up the illegal woman. His knee, the inspiration hit Rosemary with an assisted set up powerbomb for the win to become the new NXT. NXT, that's how weird it is to have you on. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That is weird. Sorry, your new Impact Women Tag Team Championship. What do you?
Oh man, I thought it was, again, like I said, it was a cool moment to have them back. I'm not surprised they returned and won the title. It was cool to see them back in their element. They look refreshed, and I thought this was solid. The tag match was in the ring was not. I thought the tag work was not that bad. I thought everyone, like you said, had a couple awkward moments maybe, but it was still cool nonetheless. I think some people may not like the fact that they're champions already, but to me, they are like by far the most popular women's team, probably in wrestling. Like if you really think about it, just like when you think of a women's team, who else do you think of first? Maybe some other ones, but you know what I mean. But they definitely the most popular I can think of on the roster. So I'm not really surprised that Impact went with them to win. So I thought it was solid. I gave it 3 stars.
3 stars there for that one. Yeah, I mean, Decay have started most of the specials and pay-per-views off because Rosemary is loved by the fans. And again, like I said, it's an enjoyable opener. Yeah, a few missteps, but the inspiration bring more to Impact as we go along and facing off. I tell you what, Havoc was stomping around like Wnr390. I tell you that. I don't know if she honestly say, and I'm going to give her 3.25. I'm not sure what I was. Prediction-wise, that. We see Jackson, the old Decay, and you and I the night. And like I said, anybody surprised the inspiration didn't win or won. This is such an impact for WWE. Yes. They dream of being WWE. Anybody from WWE can come and win the championship. Go on, beat any Impact wrestler. Look what they did with Kenny Omega. They came in and just beat everybody you want. Moose, Sammy Callahan. It doesn't matter.
They're always looking for that name value. They value name value over homegrown talent any day, in my opinion.
Without a doubt. Well, we see Gia Miller interviewing Deanna Pratzer about Matthew Reinhold being banned from ringside. Pratzer was projecting, saying that it was all Mickey's fault for ambushing Deanna for months. Deanna talked about how she won the title by herself. She's company. Deanna said Mickey may be a legend to some people, but not to her. So she's going to do what the Virtuosa does best and break both arms. Strong stuff. Okay. And now we get the X Division match at the hype of the entrances. Nice entrance and attire from Trey. It's Steve Macklin versus El Phantasmo versus Trey McLean. Vacant championship. Before I get on to the match, of course, El Phantasmo. Tell me maybe a little bit about him that we might not know a few times.
He's one of the cockiest and like the heel. Like I don't know. He's the definition of a arrogant Bullet Club heel. Very very big huge ego, but man, can he back it up in the ring? He has no qualms about going to dirty tactics. I'm going to mention it in my notes. His finisher might as well be the dick punch at this point in his career, even though he's really, really good at other things. He has other finishers, great repertoire. Like I said, he walks on the rope effortlessly. I've seen him straddle the ropes. I used to wow every time Undertaker did old school. When I tell you El Phantasmo old school is unbelievably better, in my opinion, is on another level. Like I said, he's great in the ring. You let him get a chance to talk. I know in New Japan, when he's unfiltered, he's unbelievable. You just, like I said, I really, really like El Phantasmo, a lot of the work he does, but it's nothing good about him. All I have to tell you is character-wise, he's a riding character, but in the ring, he's great.
Well, we get on to the
He
match.
is riding. I promise you. I'm trying to think of redeemable qualities other than being arrogant.
Well, we'll see what he can offer in it with Macklin and Miguel. See Macklin with a twisting suplex heel after running the ropes. A nice handstand mule kick of Phantasmo. Macklin return strike of Miguel. Mr. Macklin's nipple, which Macklin no-sold. He's good. Phantasmo did an old school into a Hurricane Runner of Macklin. Dodging Trey was, like you said, fucking impressive from ELP because the height he gets and managed to land back on and again muck around. In your head, you know, it's Rey Mysterio kind of Ray Phantasmo. He's not as small as those guys, which again makes... And another impressive move was Macklin spearing Trey through the ropes to fire up the crowd as well. That was Macklin hit Phantasmo with a suicide dive. Macklin a tope on Hero, and his striker tried to cover it up by saying it was a hip attack. Lucky he didn't break his fucking neck there. Miguel hit Phantasmo at ring cutter. Trey's back and hit Macklin with a sunset bomb. We've seen a lot of moves in this match, you know, really, really impressive. And then Phantasmo's kind of like rake on the back. Do you know what I mean? I poke. It's very kind of, you know, apart from old school.
See, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. He gives you a little bit of what you want. Like, he can do the flashy stuff, but he relies on heel tactics.
Well, that was Macklin blocking Trey's Meteora, but Zuziguri. Phantasmo kicked Macklin to ringside. Trey rolled up Phantasmo into a jackknife. Phantasmo went for a low blow, but Trey was wearing a cup. He took out Trey, hit Phantasmo with a brainbuster for the victory. What were your thoughts?
I thought this match was very fun. You know, I think you mentioned a couple of spots that I was like, well, you know, what's going on? They definitely was just trying to throw everything they could at each other, you know, especially at one point. But I was definitely impressed with Macklin at times. I thought he looked strong for most of the match. ELP again doing what he always do. Like I said, I appreciate his style so much. I mentioned it earlier. Just how smart I think it is the way he wrestles sometimes. I really thought Macklin got a chance to do some things that no one really ever got a chance to see him do when he was in WWE. Trey Miguel seemed to be someone that the fans and attendants definitely wanted to win this match. And based on his work in the ring and from what I've seen to him in the past and in this match, I understand why. It was just perfect. And this title win definitely seemed well deserved. So I enjoyed this, you know. And by the way, a cup is definitely ELP's worst enemy. It came back to bite him in New Japan once before. Wear a cup, kids. As a matter of fact, to give you another example of the type of person ELP is, in his recent New Japan run, he's putting steel in his boot and has been walking around claiming he has the strongest super kick in history, but he's really been knocking people out cold with an illegal steel in his shoe. So that's just show you the character of ELP. So glad that Trey Miguel got the victory over a guy like that in this case. And this was great. This worked for me. I gave it 4 stars.
Yeah, 4 stars, I think, is a fair rating for that. But we talk about this is Macklin's kind of biggest match that he's had, really. He's really got in good shape to go on this run. He did well. Trey, though, is very, very special. One of the 3, I think, kind of watching Impact for the past year. I do think Ace, Josh Alexander, and Trey Miguel were kind of the 3 that I would take elsewhere with of course great stuff all round, like real emotion from Trey again winning the X Division title because it shows that maybe he can go on a good run there. 4 out of 5 as well. Predictions that I went for Macklin where Jaxie and yourself went for El Phantasmo and Ultimate One got a point there. He actually did go Miguel, so
Trey Miguel.
Jackson, but she doesn't watch a lot of so I think that's fair to say at this point in time. We move on, and G Miller is interviewed Mickey James, and James says Joan is one of her toughest opponents yet. Says Joan made it personal by invading the house where her son is. James talked about being a lot through the last 8 years. She says she's doubts herself, the toughest to prove herself she can hold gold again. The heart, she's holding her title with turn. Speaking about real emotion, and then we get a hype video airing from Rhino versus Violent by Design. And it's nice for Doring to dress like Snuffleupagus as well, I think. And of course, the story is we don't know what side Rhino is on. Heath came out by himself. Rhino wasn't there, doing blindside shots, so it's violent by design. And Heath agreed to have the bell ring. He tried to rally against Dina, but Doring pulled aside. Dina a blockbuster and traded quick tags to maintain a number of game. They continued to dominate Heath. He tried to crawl to his corner, but of course Rhino wasn't there, leading to VBD to dominate yet again. And suddenly Rhino's hit, and he made his entrance, and he went to his sad, tag me, and he took the hot tag and rallied again. Rhino hit Doring with a belly to belly. Rhino called for the gore, and hit Dina with the gore. And we always go, gore, gore, gore.
Gore.
Rhino hit Dina with a goal for the win, and Rhino and Heath hugged up victory. What were your...
I have to be honest, this is very Impact, another segment where I had serious WWE vibes. I just got to be honest. I'm sorry, Impact fans, but seeing VBD led by Eric Young, and then versus Heath and Rhino, man, you can't tell me it doesn't. You didn't give me made me think of Sanity. And then versus, Slater and Rhino from WWE.
Yeah, but he's got kids. He's got kids though. I mean, they've not done that before. They've never done that.
Oh yeah, okay, fair. That's fair. You know what? No, it's not that. It's not different enough for me. But honestly, I don't have a problem with it. What happened? Because, like I said, this was a feel good moment. I think that was the whole setup. As soon as I figured out that Heath would start off alone, I was like, okay, Rhino's going to make the save in the end, obviously. So I think, it was cool, even though it was predictable and it wasn't the longest match either. But, I think it served its purpose. And you got Rhino and Heath back together. So I think that was the goal here. And we got to see a gore, so I'm not mad at that.
No, I mean,
yeah.
It's nice Heath back with the world's wide. It's got that feel good moment. I mean, I've mentioned how he is a tag team. Like that is
the definition of stocky.
Like what size? That's like long. 6 foot long. Anyway, I'm gonna give it a 3.5 because of the payoff. I wasn't sure what you.
Oh yeah, well, see, I was still looking at it like it was a match, so I gave it 2.75. But yeah. I understand the feel-good moment earning it enough of a star boost for you. But, yeah.
Without a doubt, we see Jim Miller interviewing Jordan Grace after winning the Digital Media Championship. Rachel Ellen was there too. She says she's the first Triple Crown knockout. Grace thanked Ellen for having her back, and she will win the Call Your Shot match. Moose and Morrissey showed up. Moose said either he or Morrissey said he likes my set. I don't know about you, but I can machine humming. And it wasn't... when you pause it, I go... What's that? Is that something here? And it wasn't. It was on the tip. It was like a...
Oh, it's in the background.
Tell the cameraman stop using the fridge. Shut the door. Whilst they're talking, just keep nice and quiet. I like how people... anyway, we get rules for video package. Ed for the Call Your Shot Battle Royal. It's nothing like a Royal Rumble or a Money in the Bank. You shut your mouth. It's very simple. We get 28. The last contract gets a trophy shot. Last person that did was right after the match. And Rocky Romero, New Japan, was number 2. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Rocky Romero for anybody that's not heard of him?
Oh, yeah. If you don't know about Rocky Romero, he trained with a lot of your favorite wrestlers in the LA dojo way back in the day. Samoa Joe has spent time working with Bryan Danielson early in his career. Shinsuke Nakamura. But he's been in the New Japan system for a long time. I want to say since 2004. It may have been sooner than that. And he's a member of Chaos, Kazuchika Okada's faction, and considered his best friend also. He's like an 8-time or 9-time Super Junior Tag Team Champion, which will probably be Impact's equivalent to the X Division title, or at least what the X Division title used to be. Super Junior, basically, Cruiserweight Championship. And he's a really, really great worker. I've always enjoyed Rocky Romero's work, and I think he's a great liaison also between Impact or just America in general and New Japan, because I think he works in the office with New Japan and also wrestles. So, and since he speaks English and can understand Japanese, he's a great liaison representative of New Japan in that regard also. So He does everything. He's been everywhere in America and popping back up in Japan. But he's always great, and yeah, I like him in commentary, and I like him in the ring.
I'm just being told in my ear.
Used to team up with Beretta, by the way.
Oh, that's quite.
And the
That's
best
quite.
friends. Yeah.
I'm,
Team up with Beretta.
I'm just being told in my ear that I did for the last round. I know how. The only person not to get a point last time, I think it was Jackson. I don't know why I'm laughing. She went 2-2.
Wow.
Yeah, we can
Can't catch a break.
That's about it. So we're gonna get to the Call Your Shot match. Romero and Sabin started with a respectful stalemate. Madman Fulton came out at 3. Romero and Sabin teaming up to try and dump Fulton at ringside. Rohit Raju came out at number 4. Rohit walked right into a sandwich combo between Sabin and Romero. Raju was scared at first, but asked Fulton to the other two. I really like Rohit Raju. He's probably my favourite heel, more so like MGF. Because the thing about him that I like, he can show he's scared and he's not worried about coming a heel. You're meant to be a piece of shit anyway, you know.
Right, real scum of the earth.
Yeah,
type of a guy.
Yeah, like Kenny Williams, you know. That I don't want to confuse. I don't want to get over, but just no redeeming feature. People listening to that, are you talking about Impact, NXT, or NXT UK? Make your mind up and just stick with it. Stay in your lane, all right? We want to hear about Bound for Good. Yes, well, we see Tasha Steelz was number 5, and Raju convinced Steelz to join the alliance. Steelz boots to the baby faces, and Rocky Romero was first eliminated, tossed out by Raju. Rachel Ellery was out at number 6. Raju grabbed Fulton's hair to prevent his own elimination, which accidentally eliminated Fulton again. Something that was quite funny. Savannah Evans came out at number 7. The number of Archer, but Ellery didn't care. Eliminated Evans with a big boot, but then was eliminated by Steelz. Johnny Swinger was out at 8. Yes, that's still a thing. And then Melina made a think.
Oh man, haven't aged a day. Still my crush from back in the day. I'm very biased. I'm not even thinking about her work at all right now. I'm just thinking about Melina. Love you, Melina. That's all I have to say.
Well, Swinger swung his hips at Melina and caught Melina's kick. Melina did the split slow, but Swinger hit Melina with a face buster. The Demon, no, not Finn Balor, Dale Torberg. He came out at number 10. Swinger got out Noped and asked the Demon for an autograph. The Demon signed
it. That was the weirdest callback to me, by the way. It wasn't good in WCW, but maybe we have bad memories. I don't know.
Look, first off, I will say the crowd booed, and rightfully so, because it wasn't Gene Simmons, and I think Swinger making an excellent point of this guy. Do you think that maybe Braun Strowman or some WWE guy, or ex-WWE, said, actually, I can't make it, and they thought, who's around? And the Demon was there. So they said, hey, I'm not saying they did, but I mean, it did feel a bit like, oh, okay. Brian Myers, number 11, Zicky Dyson. Myers dominated the Demon. Mark Cardona was a Myers and Cardona. Yes, it's almost like they do a podcast together. Laredo Kid came at 13. D'Lo noted that 13 is an unlucky number. Oh, you did a good job there, mate. Steelz. Myers eliminated Melina. Sam Bill made his team. Rich Swann came out at number. Bill then surprised by eliminating Brian Myers. Myers, a dead man. I don't mind Bill, but he does look like a shit creator. You know when you give it to one of your mates who doesn't know what a wrestler should look like? You go, why have you put a tattoo on his chest? Yeah. Give him sunglasses. You can't wrestle with sunglasses. Ace Austin made his entrance at number 16. Ace hit Raju with a handstand kick combination. Raju went back to hugging the bottom rope for the match, a la Jerry the King Lawyer. Ace pulled the top rope down to eliminate Demon. Moose near powerbomb Bill and VSK on dice. The match ensured. Eddie Edwards was number 18. He dumped Moose to ringside, but through the second, and they brawled at ringside. Alicia Edwards made her entrance number 19, and they attacked Moose with the kendo sticks. The sticks broke over Moose. Morrissey came out at 20, and of course attacked him with kendo sticks as well, but then was eliminated with a power slam. Eddie eliminated Egg Boot, who tried to team up with, and then he didn't bite again.
Didn't work out.
Like that. No, it's good. You guys are my team. Like, that's kind of shit that I'll be doing. The match.
I like it, but I definitely called him idiot. I liked it, but I definitely called him idiot.
Saban eliminated off Badman for his version of force Morrissey to eliminate Morrissey and Swan. And the ring announcer announced that Moose versus Cardona was pinfall or submission. Cardona missed the top rope rough rider. Moose hit Ryder with a spear. for the victory. Moose finally wins, but what were your thoughts on?
Yeah, it's a battle royal. I usually don't really think about rating these, or at least rating them on the same scale that I rate other matches with general like stories or general, other type of stipulations. But it was interesting spots in this match, and it did have an important stipulation, and I thought it was a decent battle royal. You gave me a perfect lead off to talk about Melina's hilarious elimination, and I was too busy talking about how she looked. I apologize because she eliminated someone by doing the splits, pulling the top rope down, and I just thought that was the most ridiculous. Like it was just unnecessary. That's what I'll say. The most unnecessary splits I've ever seen. Why? What's the point? What was the point of being flashy? Just other than just being Melina. Now I'm happy she did the splits. I'll take that any time. But again, I just didn't understand the reason for it. It looked hilarious to me. But anyway, that's besides the point. Rich One made the final four. I take that as a small victory because I had no clue who was going to be in this match. So, but Moose winning is definitely not a surprise. Even though towards the end I was hoping Cardona would have pulled it out because I thought it was kind of predictable. Pretty much once Moose got in the ring, that it was his match to lose, kind of, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I gave it 3 stars. This wasn't bad.
I think my problem with it was like boring rumble. Big surprises. Yeah. We were expecting maybe Braun or someone else, and we didn't have anything. In my eyes, this should have been on a pre-show, because then you've kind of got half hour. You could eat up. It kind of took the momentum away from the strong start we had. It evaporated, just waiting. And even then, Swan should have been with the match with Moose. Could it made more sense? Because Swan beat for the Impact, or when the Impact title was online on pay-per-view, getting his win back from earlier. But then again, I don't know if they look into that too much. But for me, it was just too long. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. Because like I said, I
also believe that if they would have let Swan, and Moose go, it would have, like you said, it would have made that ending a little bit more dramatic, and they could have actually turned into an actual one-on-one match. Yeah. Once you get the other people out of there, and they could have had even a little bit more time. But that's another thing I was kind of bummed out with. Even though I thought the Battle Royal part, like you said, went too long, I felt like if you're going to lead it all the way down to the final 2 and they're going to have a match, then at least let that match be, competitive and have some type of drama there. But like you said, it was lacking that energy, and it kind of brought the show down a little bit.
Well, the thing is, you have the Battle Royal part on the pre-show, and then when it goes to the one-on-one match, you have that match start off.
Oh, yeah, have them come out later. Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
That's
so
true.
Then you've kind of got that.
I wouldn't do it that way.
To jump off on. Prediction-wise for that, Ultimate One's come back from... He picked Moose in this one as well. You went for Swan. Jaxie and I myself went for Titan, so Jaxie is 0 for 5 in time. Monty, you're on 2. Me and Ultimate. But to be fair to me, in the Ultimate One, we do watch him. I think if G and Miller interviewed Rhino and Heath. Heath said he had his doubts, but Rhino has his back and did him. Rhino said in dark times. Heath never gave up on Rhino, and Rhino said Uncle Rhino is back. And then a hype package air to hype the tag team title matches. The Good Brothers, Doc Golaz and Carl Lanson versus Finn Juice, Dave Finley and Juice Robinson. Bullet Club, Hickey and Chris Bay for the Impact Tag Team Champion. Before I start, we've seen a lot from the Golden, but one thing I'll ask you, the Bullet Club, where would you rank them at this moment in time in where they have been? Because obviously they're not kind of the hottest ball, but do you still enough? Are the Bullet Club still a kind of big group? So?
Yeah, I think they may. I don't know if they're as big of a deal as they were. I think we can be honest. Even when it was Prince Devitt or Finn Balor's baby, and he was just Tama Tonga, Fale, and kind of that immediate group before with Carl Anderson and Gallows coming eventually. As it began to grow, they're not necessarily looked at, in my opinion, around the world the same. But I do think, especially in Japan, as a vehicle to get not only gaijin, as in people who are not from Japan, over in Japan. Not only does it help get new characters over and all of that, they're kind of almost NWO type when it comes to their depiction in Japan, because you got different offshoots, different parts of the faction now. You got Evil with his own sub faction of the Bullet Club, even though he's considered Bullet Club. You have Jay White, who was supposed to be the leader uh, after the Kenny Omega days, but they've definitely fallen in stature. But I would say they're very important, especially in Japan. And I want to say that the name value itself around many organizations is still valuable, if you know what I mean. But I don't know if as far as like standing and where they are looked at now, I don't know if they are anywhere close to where they probably were a few years ago when they were when they were intact, or when they seem to have like a whole bunch of members in it. But the Bullet Club is for life, as they say, and it seems that it's continuing on through many different ways. You have Kenta, who's now in New Japan, Kenta in New Japan, who represents Bullet Club. You have, of course, God and all the great talent in New Japan that still represent Bullet Club. So it's still a strong front. It's just I don't think they're on the same level popularity wise as they were in different times in the past decade.
I think it'd be fair to say, otherwise maybe they wouldn't be on Impact. You know what I mean? No offence to Impact with that. I'm just saying. But what I'm noticing, Chris Bayer calling part, and becoming, I think, start this match off with Bay and Finlay, ended in a stalemate. Finlay got the first match with a drop kick. Juice tagged in, rolled up Bay. He then hit Bay with a red and senton after Finlay gave Bay a back suplex. And then Bay hit Juice with a jawbreaker. Hikuleo and Gallows tagged in. Gallows asked for 2 feet, but Hikuleo gave Gallows a kick. And they traded punches and running tackles and nose cells. Bay and Hikuleo traded quick tags to isolate Finlay. Juice managed to tag in to work on Bay with a series of lariats. He gave Bay a backdrop and answered Nick punches. He hit Bay with a gut buster, but then Bay hit Juice. All the teams took each other out in the signature moves. Robinson hit Bay with a cannonball and hit Anson with a running palm. Finlay got Bay with a superplex. Robinson got Bay with a frog splash. And Anson tagged in to steal the pin on Bay. What were your thoughts on?
I thought this match was not bad. It had some good work there. Definitely some decent spots. Particularly Chris Bay and Finn Juice, I thought impressed throughout the match with a little bit of things that they were doing. I did think this kind of TV level style. Even though it was great moments and I thought it was paced pretty well. The finish really gives me just like that finish has been done to death, and I'm not trying to be hard on these guys in this particular match, but like this is bound for glory. I expect a culmination of a story or something in this when it comes to a match on a pay-per-view, and winning in that way, in that fashion, I guess is typical Good Brothers, but at the same time it's just not really I think they could have did it in a better way, honestly, but maybe that's just me being nitpicky. But I honestly didn't really believe the other contenders really had a chance. So that kind of took away from the match also. So, but the Good Bros retaining is hopefully something fresh and someone new will be coming for those titles at some point soon. But I don't think it was either going back to Finn Juice, like you mentioned earlier, who had it earlier this year, or going into the Bullet Club's hands.
I think the thing about this, it's the biggest show of the year. I don't think with the biggest show of the year, if you're going to have a tag team like this, which you say you think the Good Brothers are going to retain, then you don't kind of devalues, not what the Good Brothers do, but just the match. And I know, you don't compare it to WrestleMania, but, pay-per-view as well, when people are paying money to not, just kind of give a match that matters, Like I said, you've got the GOD and the Good Brothers, but our New Japan say, no, we want our wrestling, and then you're kind of having waiting until January. For them is, they're going to the last 6. Well, where they're going to be signed with WWE. The match was fine, and then just suddenly ended.
Yeah.
I think the Good Brothers have wrestled less than Sammy. And one thing I did like shat in his mouth. But then again, this time,
yes, he's a great talker, man.
It's just great. I just love it. You wait till I get there. I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. And
I also want to mention that, like you mentioned, that this is one of their biggest shows, or if not the biggest show of the year. And you don't want a tag team championship. WWE does this too, and I get on them on my show when I get a chance, or whenever I think about it, it aggravates me. You should never have on a major show, especially a pay-per-view that you want people to pay their money for. You should never have a tag team title match or something, or a title match in general that feels like filler. And this match is as decent as it was at times, just felt like filler to me.
Will we get a Minoru Suzuki debut vignette airing? It's still coming soon. We'll talk about that after Bound for Glory. We see Jim interviewing Christian Cage about his match against Alexander. Cage said he appreciates what Josh gave up. Also gave a lot up. He talked about it helping him coming back after to pass. He's not ready to do so. He said it burns his soul for losing the Impact title. The crowd, his wife and child, and still champion. We then get Pratzer with Mickie James hype package airing, and you get the entrance for the Knockout Championship match. If Penza handled the introduction, but Mickie jumped the gun. D'Lo thought the bell didn't ring, but Striker claimed the match started. D'Lo was right. Look, that's not how it's supposed to work. Just listen to D'Lo, Matt, all right? Shut your mouth and just listen. I hate when people are like, you know. And then he goes, oh, you were? That's why I said it. Anyway, we see Ringside. Jonah managed to recover. Pump the bell actually and dominated backdrop kicks. And a finisher, the Mickey DDT, but Diana kicked out at 2. Mickey escaped down a Scotch pile driver and put in a Fujiwara armbar, but Mickey did a buttfire. Diana hit Mickey with Queen's Gambit finisher, but Mickey kicked out, so both kicked out of each other's trademark moves. Diana brought the chair in the ring, the referee grabbed it and put it on. Mickey bit Diana on the top rope and actually gave the referee a seated senton. Ref bump. I wouldn't mind taking this, to be fair. Diana went for a chair shot, but with a mick kick. Referee recovered and counted 2 for the palm strike on top. But the break for the top rope. Mickey recovered with a back kick. DDT for the victory. Yes, your new knockout champion, Impact. It is Mickie James. What were your thoughts on?
I thought this was really, really cool. You know, this match had a lot of drama going into it with the build. I saw the video package, and based on the promos going into it, you can tell this was a big deal for both ladies. And you know, and I thought that Mickie, not only in her promo, but just in the way she attacked in this match, you could tell she really wanted this or really was happy to be in this position. And I don't think Mickie missed a beat at all in the ring. And even though, honestly, I don't think she's ever been accused of that. Deonna has been on a roll, probably one of the best runs in wrestling, even though she probably don't get the love or attention that she deserves because it's in Impact. But Pratzer definitely showed. Honestly, before she left WWE, I thought she was one of the best. But her run in Impact has really, you could tell she's just gotten more experience, supremely confident in who she was, completely different person than who she was when they were sending her out for random matches in NXT. But anyway, you can tell she's been in big match situations because this felt like a big match. She has some very brutal spots in there that plenty of times I thought Mickie lost this match, but I expected the champion to win her title back many times in this match. But it was a true feel good moment when Mickie did prevail. You know, seeing her as champion again, I can understand the value in it. Even though, like I said, it is the typical. I thought since they did the typical Impact thing with the inspiration, they may not go that route with Mickie James. But of course, you know, right back to in the saddle, I guess you could say, for Mickie James. Not bad, though. I'm not mad about it. I gave it 3.75 stars. I thought this was really, really strong, and I really enjoyed this match. But, you know, I also didn't think it was, like, special. And sometimes when you do the false finish thing, sometimes it can be a little bit overdone. I'm not accusing these ladies here because I thought they worked hard, and I thought this was good. But at times it was a little bit much, if you see what I'm saying, what they were surviving from each other. But either way it go, that may be just my little nitpick moment. I thought this.
Yeah, I think without doubt. I think. Well, then again, maybe I was expecting too much. I thought it was good. Time was off a little bit. I was really looking for. I don't think Mickie should have won, but you know, what do I know? But I think Stride. I'm gonna give it a 4.
Right.
And I wasn't really 100% with it, if you know what I'm trying to say. Predictions. I will say we didn't do predictions for the Good Brothers either. We all went Good Brothers, apart from you, Monty, in that one. You went Bullet Club. So Jaxie does get a first of the day. So I think that is two there. Predictions for Pratzer and Mickie James all went Pratzer, apart from Jaxie. So she's on a roll. She's going to catch us.
There we go.
Jaxie is back in it. Level as we head into the main event. The main event started just after midnight at 5 o'clock in the morning in the UK. Maybe Impact shouldn't have bent back for Dynamo. The crowd, you know, getting tired as well at this point, I suppose.
Yeah.
But our main event, Christian Cage versus Josh Alexander for the Impact World Championship. Both men couldn't get the video early going. Alexander gave Christian a neck-first German suplex. The camera shows his wife and son cheering at ringside. Christian escaped a powerbomb attempt by Josh. Josh countered Christian's punches, break a powerbomb. Christian Alexander will reverse the 2 count. And then Christian reversed an ankle lock into a rear naked choke. But he reversed the choke by pressing Christian's shoulders into the mat. He reversed the spear into a Chaos Theory as well. Alexander turned a crossface into an ankle lock. Alexander reversed the kick into a sharpshooter. Striker made a Montreal Screwjob reference for some reason. I guess because he's a knob. Christian grabbed the bottom rope for the break. And a backdrop Christian off the top. Alexander missed a moonsault, walked into a Christian spear for a 2 count. Dio kept saying kill switch engage. Christian shoved Alexander off the top rope and hit Alexander with a frog splash. Alexander reversed the Christian lock. Alexander stepped on Christian's hand to prevent the rope break. He tap out. New Impact World Champion Josh Alexander. We see Christian recovered and grabbed the world title. He put the title on him a hug. Christian allowed Alexander to have his moments. Josh Wyfen's in the ring. Matt Striker started to cry. Sounds really fucking weird. I mean, it is just so weird. What were your thoughts on your main event?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I ignored D-Lo and Matt Striker for most of this tonight. But I must say that this match is really good. It was compelling. Christian is just still such a really good ring general. You can tell. I think when he was in his prime, he was really great at this, and I thought this was another, at this point in his career, for him to still be this good, he probably is underappreciated. We've been given a lot of people have a lot to say, and a lot have, as rightfully so, has been given Edge his flowers for his return. But I think Christian has also, with his in-ring work since returning, has been top notch. So I think we got to thank both of those guys for what they're able to still do in the stories they're still able to tell. And Josh Alexander, I thought he looked great, as he always does to me, channeling a little bit of inner Kurt Angle, for this match. The intensity that he brought, and then once you get to the actual moment of him prevailing and embracing along with his family, I mentioned something. I mentioned the Heath and Rhino as a feel-good moment, but this is genuinely one of those moments that you really, really enjoy wrestling when they happen, when someone attains something that they worked so hard to get to, and you can just see it in his eyes how proud he was of that moment. And besides Matt Striker's annoying voice, I thought this was really really good. And yeah, I gave the match 4 stars. I didn't necessarily think I probably may have thought this match would be better in my mind than it was, but I'll explain my star rating more after you explain what happened after that feel good moment.
Yeah, I mean, both men are so excellent, so maybe stars, but the night as a whole felt like, but at least everything is all right for Alex. We see Moose running out.
Things are looking up.
He's asking to cash in his trophy. Oh, whoops. It is the world title on the line. Moose hit Josh Alexander with a quick spear for the win in 007. A new Impact champ, the wife and child crying. Feel good moment. The biggest show of the year. I mean, come on, fuck.
I hated that result, man. It didn't make any sense. You literally have a pass. They even wrestled, like Christian and Alexander's match, in my opinion, was more of a passing of torch style. Like the way the story they told felt like a passing of the torch moment. And then immediately you have that just ruined with, squashed easily with a spear with no problem. And like you said, family just, unhappy and in tears, and I just didn't understand. It was a swerve for the sake of a swerve. It felt like I didn't get it. It also makes me realize that Vince McMahon or whoever came up with the concept of cashing in the way Money in the Bank worked for a long time. Man, what a good bad idea that turned. This is an example of why it can be a very bad idea, because I just don't understand doing it in this moment. Of course, I think Moose can be a good villain. I mean, come on. I mean, honestly, what the story write itself. You just embarrassed him in front of his family. I know it's a story that they can tell with this, but honestly, I just didn't understand why they had to do it in this way. And maybe time will tell, but it just didn't make sense to me the way they decided to go about this. Moose may be a really good champion, and it may even work. May be a great villain for this role. But I just, man, it just left a bad taste in my mouth, and I don't think that's what you want to do. Like you said, closing out your biggest show of the year. You know, when you seem to be crowning a new champion, making a new star, and you immediately do it that way. I just don't get it. But Impact is going to impact.
But this is the thing, and I've been watching it now for a year, and after, oh, what's the fucking... Like, I've spent money on a main event, and they've done this. If they'd done it on the next Impact, you'd be going, okay, that maybe makes a little bit more sense. I understand what it is, you know, or blood thanks on it, but it's like, we're never going to get the payoff, you know. And like I said, Bound for Glory's built up so much, but in actual fact, felt like I've seen better Impact specials, and I think, for like you said, your biggest show, seen that with the women's match, with the main event, with the tag team, we expected a little bit more, and I think the show had kind of stopped before the Call Your Shot Battle Royal. We would have gone, oh, it feels, and they were the only kind of big deal, you know, outside of kind of Impact, after all the build of Bound for Glory, a different company. We really didn't, and it's just a bit of a head scratcher.
It almost feels like they, right, exactly. It almost feels like when they were pitching it and when they were building it up, they had just a major list of names agreed, ready to go, and then it's just like everyone bowed out in the last minute or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's almost what it felt like, because like you said, the build and the energy around the hype, the energy around Bound for Glory going into it did not match what I watched. The other day, it just felt like you said, it felt like just a regular Impact. Some of that, like I said, some of these matches, I promise you, if I just watch a regular Impact show, I'll probably see better or around the same content. So yeah, you would want more when you, like you said, biggest show of the year. You're making people pay for it. You're coming out of your main event, and we all know that when you do that, that's what you're paying your money for. The main event. It's just like, imagine if you go to WrestleMania and Bianca's, even after, you know, she prevails over Sasha, and then I'm just using Charlotte as an example here, but like Charlotte won that Mania, if I remember right, and Charlotte popped up with this, you know, out of nowhere title match, and she just takes the belt in seconds. Imagine that at a Mania, you know what I mean? Like, I understand that we had the Becky Lynch and the Bianca thing happen at SummerSlam, but at least it was a little shock factor there. At least she felt like a big star returning. You know what I mean? Like, you can at least take that from the segment. In this particular case, doing it like that when you see Moose early in the night, when, like you said, you could have saved this for his coronation on the next Impact. Like, like I said, it's just a misstep in many different ways, in my opinion. And I thought overall this show could have been much better.
We're going to give it out of 10 then.
I think overall, let's see, I wrote down 7 out of 10. I thought it was good. It had issues, and I didn't think anything was glaringly bad, like embarrassingly or bad or anything like that. It was solid in that way, but I also thought it was nothing really special. And if this is supposed to be Bound for Glory, this is supposed to be one of your biggest shows, I expect at least some special moment, something to stick out in my head from the show after watching it. Maybe if Alexander prevails in the end and end the night as champion with his family, you could at least take away that moment, you know, and be like, you know what, this is a positive end to had its flaws, but it's still a positive end to a decent or to a good show. But yeah, I thought this was solid, but not a great one.
Well, but this is what we kind of done a scientific experiment when you think about it. Because like I said, I've been watching Impact since the start of the year, so I've kind of been built up, invested, realised, starting to like, you know, a few guys, and come to the biggest show of the year, and someone who I know is a wrestling fan and knows their stuff, to Impact for the first time. And I think we both felt exactly the same with this pay-per-view. Someone come watching it, you didn't get this wow factor of like, and I didn't get the reinvestment of like the payoffs. You know, like
right.
Even when, you know, the biggest pay, like for Volta, that payoff there kind of made up for all the NXT UK programs where we didn't, you know, have the kind of big shows and stuff like this. And you felt with Impact, kind of, for me it's an 8. It's a real shame, really. All the major matches kind of didn't deliver. And the thing is, if Impact are hyping it, you go into that hype, and it's their own fault then, you know. Don't just say what you're going to get is what you get. Because I even think before this all Bray or Braun, I didn't think the match if they could. And when you've got Deanna Pratzer, who's been the best woman arguably in the world, and it didn't go through. Alexander, in my mind, there's a lot of. I still think the main event was the best matchup.
Yeah, I think the main event ended up probably being the best work match. Yeah, I like Alexander. I think the two matches I would definitely recommend is Alexander and I would go ahead and I actually would recommend Mickey and Pratzer too. I think, like I said, it could have been better, but I think it was especially just overall for the show, things that stick out overall for me. Mickey's moment stuck out. I thought the triple threat with Trey Miguel prevail in that moment stuck out, and I think Josh Alexander and Christian had the best matchup.
I think Trey was my MVP of the night, just performance. I
Yeah.
think he was wrestling like his special event, and you can tell that by the motion.
I agree. I believe Trey Miguel deserves the MVP. That energy, the way that moment felt, I agree. That's one of those reasons why I think, again, maybe that's another thing that made the rest of the show kind of let us down, because they started off with a very, very great, very not only good intensity, but just an energy that was infectious and made you feel like Impact was on to something here. And then, like you said, it just kind of went off the rails from not too long after that. But yeah, Trey Miguel definitely deserves a mention for MVP.
And final predictions for that one. To the end, we all went Alexander apart from Jaxie, so she ends with 2 points. Monty, you ended with an ultimate 1 and 5 draw. And again, overall, quite. We got a couple of impacts. The next impact we had Moose, and it doesn't matter how elite you are, tribe, your chief, the boss, the man, the woman, the king, the queen. It doesn't matter what day you hold a title. Hell, you can add a new day to the week. I'm still the greatest champion in all wrestling. Did he mention everybody?
He had a checklist. He definitely had a checklist when he was coming up with that one. You know what I mean? Made sure he let everyone know that he's views himself on the same level of a lot of the best in the world. But it's a similar thing with Impact. It's funny to me. Anytime someone from Impact mentions other companies or say that they're on the level of the other company, it's funny how Impact's booking or something in Impact reinforces the opposite. So it's just like they say that and they put themselves on that level, and then you're underwhelmed because the booking is inconsistent or whatever the situation is with Impact. But I think Moose definitely deserves to be in the conversation of like when it comes to his work and when it comes to his potential. And I love the energy there, but I don't know. I don't think he's on the level of a lot of those guys he's talking about there. But there's nothing wrong with that confidence, though, or at least giving you insight to what type of champion or what type of run this is going to be when it comes to Moose as a character.
Yeah, I think we're about out. And on the Burst Impact as well, the X Division Championship match is well worth looking at. Trey Miguel talked about Romero. These two guys absolutely stole the show, and we found out Eric Young is 100% fit now as well, which is good to see. The main event was a little bit boring for me, Ace Austin versus Chris Sabin, but not too bad. And then into the second week as well. Again, the main story on this. Well, first off, we're wondering who Mickie James' next challenge would be. Would it be Pratzer, Madison Rayne, and then Mercedes Martinez came out to challenge you a match. You're wondering why? Because not the pay-per-view on the October final. Rachel Frost, Andy Lauren, Tasha Steele v Senegal. Deanna Pratzer defeated Masha Slamovic's match. Then knockout semi-final, Ellering in a great match. Tasha Green and Mercedes in the final for that. Savannah Evans defeated Alicia Edwards, Jordan Grace, Kimberly in a Monsters Ball match. And in the main event, Decay beat The Influence. What are your thoughts on Martinez? That will get you excited?
Yeah, I think it's a really good opportunity for Mercedes. Mercedes is always, in my opinion, have the potential to have really good matches when she's unleashed and allowed to do what she does best. I don't think her. I think her and Mickey will do fine. They're both veterans. You know what I mean? They're both very experienced. So I expect some good work in that match. I wouldn't be surprised if it's really really good. I do say though, I will say this, that it sucks that Mercedes is next up, kind of, because it's just, I think we all know the new champion. This is how it goes. It's very very rare. The new champion is going to lose that very first contender, or lose to that very first contender. But I think the story that they could tell, and the type of match that they could have, physical, nice contest that Mercedes is used to putting out there, I think they'll be fine. I think it'll be really good. So yeah, I like her being next up when it comes to Mickey James versus.
Yeah, without a doubt. Talk about them. It was a bit like NWA referees and ring announcers referees. It was another great, something the match was out of 10. So that's what's annoying. Great special, and then let them down with the pay-per-view, which we spent money on. And then, if you watch before the Impact as well, which you can on, because the thing is with stuff in England, it's not kind of access, but you got the Impact app. Yeah. And you don't need to watch Impact and the specials without having to actually pay any. And so people that paid, I think it's £20 for the pay-per-view, you put BTI on with the highlights of the, hang on, at least with WWE, it's kind of that still picture type thing, rather than anything else. But again, that's something that I'm on the second Impact that we had, which was probably, it was a banger of a show, really, because like I said, Rain, and we had Finn and the Good Brothers went for no kind of Bullet Club came out, and with multiple low blows, and we're going to get the exact same match we had before Bound for Glory, which is Finn Juice versus Bullet Club. The winner faces the Good Brothers, and I think we're just wasting time. Like to the God came, like it is just. I was going. Yeah. I've seen.
It's getting sad.
I think exactly the same.
Yeah, it's getting sad. I want to go back. I know you mentioned the former special for Impact, and I just want to say, so WWE is the only people who's had a tournament with women where the matches were afterthoughts. Why? I just want to know. I don't know if you noticed the timing. TBS Championship tournament. Theirs was in October. Impact had one in October, so it's funny when you mention how many tournaments, how many good examples of a tournament for women that we just had recently. But anyway, besides that, the tag division, like I said, obviously the most glaring lack of depth that you can ever see is when you have a blow. I guess it was supposed to be a blow-off match where both of these teams had a shot at this team and did not win. So now they're going to fight each other to get another shot at the same team that they did not beat, that neither one of them could beat. Yeah, you can just see the creative gears turning for that story.
Well, it's a very, very main event for Impact was Impact World Champion Moose, W. Morrissey, Suzuki, Matt Cardona, and Eddie Edwards. The Japanese down there, rattling the action. He countered and delivered a gotch pile driver. Morrissey rocked Edwards with a big boot and had a win. Moose was made to a tag match, and Morrissey agreed to be his partner if he was a title shot. I don't know if we're going to get that at Turning Point. But Minoru Suzuki, I've got a couple of questions because I want to ask you, because I've been strong, really dynamite like that. But what do they sing for Minoru's entrance? Because I want to.
It's Kaz na ni nore. So I don't want to know. I don't really know exactly what it's translated. I know the name of the song is "I Want to Be a Lonely Warrior," at least in there. But yeah, it's Kaz na ni nore.
Kaz na ni nore. Yeah. Canary away.
Yeah. There you go.
Right, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it was a banging match, but what can someone like Suzuki bring Impact Wrestling?
He's been killing in the United States for a while now, huh? He's on a roll here when it comes to working in the United States. He's great. I think anyone honestly, I'm so happy that he's had a chance to go to AEW and fight that match with Bryan Danielson, because it's a great reference point for me to just start turning people to. Just go to YouTube and watch Bryan Danielson and Suzuki, and that's what he brings. He brings intensity, great striking, unbelievable, like, shoot toughness. You know what I mean? He's unbelievable. Don't even mention his age. He may be older, but if you mention that, he will beat you up for it. He's just unbelievable. in the ring. He's the king of pancrase, like legit shoot fighting. He has everything, all the accomplishments, not only in Japan but just like even in MMA when it comes to not in Japanese wrestling, but even in MMA. So he's a legit tough guy. He's absolutely sadistic. My introduction to him, watching him in New Japan, he was literally a sadist who he loved pain. I've seen him smile when he gets dropped on his head. He's absolutely out of his mind. But you get to see, but at the same time, technique and like just race. Like I don't know how to explain it. He's playing out of his mind. At the same time, he's so technically sound. He's really, really good. So, if you really like Zack Sabre Jr. Style, it's a reason why he's in Suzuki-gun. It's because he's legit in the ring when it comes to submissions, when it comes to striking, the same way as Zack Sabre Jr. is, but he takes it to another level of aggressiveness and toughness. And man, Suzuki is a positive to any locker room he's in. The amount of knowledge on that man, oh my goodness, I can't even give you. I can't do any of you guys any justice. But he's a true legend, and he's valuable anywhere he is in the world.
Well, this is the thing, and I don't know next time we're going to be doing Impact, and I don't know if like dubbing on podcast, but I think we'll definitely be checking in. It'd be interesting to see what happens. One of the things I think is quite interesting is obviously one of the many reasons I started watching Impact was the AEW Impact relationship. Now, Down for Glory, did it really have that much?
Pun intended, huh?
Oh yeah, shit. I'm so good, I don't even realize.
Yeah, right. Effortlessly now at this point. But when it comes to that, I've seen a lot of arguments about it. What was the positives for Impact and all of that? And I agree, they didn't really get a chance to showcase much Impact talent as much as I guess if you count the Good Brothers, but as far as I know, the AEW fans don't want to see more of the Good Brothers. You see how fast they got them out of the door when the relationship was over. So, I don't really know what to tell you other than I guess like the Christian match with Kenny was a great moment, but again, that moment happened in an AEW ring. So I can understand all the arguments against it and how much it actually helped Impact. I can make a case that New Japan is probably doing a lot more for Impact at this point, since a lot of their guys have been showing up and helping out off and on for the better part of a year at least that I know of, since New Japan have been allowing them to travel. I think Impact and New Japan's relationship seems to be, I don't know if it's stronger than ever, but it seems to be way stronger than whatever AEW Impact had worked out. But yeah, I definitely understand all the arguments against like how much it actually helped Impact in the long run, because Kenny Omega as their champion, it did great things for Kenny's belt collector gimmick. And I guess you can, if you appreciate Don Callis, I guess he's a positive too. But other than that, it's really hard, as you can see, for me to figure out any positives for Impact Television, if you know what I mean, other than maybe the few times Omega showed up and worked matches, like with Rich Swann and a couple other moments that I thought were really good. But yeah, it was a one-sided affair creatively, almost, if you ask me.
Well, and it's really weird because I was going to ask you as well about the NJPW Impact. Well, and a touch that's going to impact than the AEW. They're kind of not on the same. They're kind of same level that maybe impacts the New Japan. If they able the names over the seeing, I think you could have an Impact NJPW pay-per-view that should be quite.
Yeah, and I know we're going to talk about this at a later date, but like the stuff with Ring of Honor, because we know how close New Japan and Ring of Honor have been. They've done super cards together that have made some great moments in wrestling. So, getting that relationship to where you can possibly get a super card or get, use some of Impact's fans. Like I said, it's guys who popping up like Alexander who's great in Impact, but I watch him, also hone his craft in New Japan Strong at times. I've seen TJP be on both shows. There's a lot of people who have, given time to Impact off and on, but at the same time also working within the New Japan system. So, I think it's gradual. It's a gradual thing, especially with traveling in Japan, opening up, and a lot of people are being allowed to go back there and also come back to America. So it's just a lot of things that I think that they're trying to figure out. But yeah, I think New Japan's relationship with them would be more beneficial going forward than what happened I mean, even already you can see Finjuice is literally, like we just mentioned, the only credible tag team they want to throw at the Good Brothers. The Good Brothers' relationship with Japan, we don't even know if they're going to end up back there, and they still, and we know they want to still do business with Japan. So it just makes a lot more sense when you really think about it for Impact to work with New Japan at this moment.
I think without a doubt. And just touching on Japan quickly, because we are wrapping up now, and of course we'll talk about the live show next week as well. But it was Power Struggle, and I did see Kenta finally was title. We've been waiting that for a very, very long time. I've not been able to watch it yet because I'm not going to watch Japanese, so I'm just waiting for the English.
Now, I can understand that. I'm not trying to sway you otherwise. But the Japanese commentary is something. I will say is some of the best energy. Like, if you want to just feel the energy, you may not understand a word they're saying, but man, if you're in the middle of a good match and they're just going at it and you just letting them go, oh man, I swear they're speaking English sometimes.
You probably understand it. You're probably multilingual. You don't realise. Next time you go to
I don't even know.
Next time you go to a Japanese restaurant and suddenly you're talking to the guy, you're like, you're talking Japanese. You go, am I?
It's a possibility. It's a major possibility, man.
Who knows? But then again, I was just about to say, that's it for today's show. Thank you so much for joining. You are a true member of our team trying to do this, and I've got you next month as well, so there's nowhere you can go. It's official.
He's working me to death, y'all. Working me to death.
Well, like I said, it was a bit of a kerfuffle, but we managed, like I said, heavily rely on you, and we're back for live show. But don't forget, we're across all social media, Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I'm at Monty. Where can I?
At Mind Monty Pod, and I'm tweeting out links or anywhere you look up the Mind and Monty podcast, you can find my newest podcast audio, and you can check out my Twitter page right now. You can get all the links right there on my link tree, and give my newest episode a listen as we talk about typos. It's a very interesting conversation there about typos. A little bit of news that happened in the past week in the wrestling world. And we're definitely going to talk about those latest WWE releases also. So give that a listen if you get a chance. And give me a follow at Mind Monty Pod. I appreciate it.
We're WNR also on Facebook and Instagram, of course, email.com, YouTube, podcast, with all latest clips and podcasts at the same time. You do SoundCloud on your phone, also Spotify. So that is it. Our next episode with is next weekend for WNR Live. AEW full gear. I mean, how genuine excitement, unlike today. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness, I can't wait. Like it's like 4 or 5 matches on there, man. That I'm like, oh my goodness, I got goosebumps thinking about them before we even get there. So yeah, I can't wait for them.
Said hopefully Ultimate One can join us, but Jackson all for that one. Of course, we're gonna have mass debate. We've got games as well. All that Jackson will be joining W Prelude, which will be 5 episodes catching up with Dynamite and Rampage. But that is it. I have been James Rose by the fantastic again. Thank you so much for joining me.
No problem, no, anytime.
Thanks for having you on, and thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.